The nicer you are to her, the less she wants to sleep with you. I know that sounds wrong. Your mother told you to be nice. Society told you to be respectful. Every Disney movie sold you the lie that being a good guy wins the girl. But look at your life. How's that working out? You treat her like a queen. You listen to her problems. You're always there when she needs you. You respect her boundaries. You never pressure her. You're the perfect gentleman. And she's sleeping with a guy who barely texts her back. Here's the truth nobody wants to admit. Attraction isn't fair. It's not logical. And it sure as hell isn't about being nice. Right now, the woman you want is being psychologically seduced by someone who understands what actually triggers desire. While you're buying her flowers, he's in her head. While you're waiting for your turn, he's already won. Today, I'm exposing 7 dark psychology tactics that create attraction on a subconscious level. Tactics that make her obsess over you instead of seeing you as just a friend. These aren't theories. These are patterns. Patterns that work whether you believe in them or not. And whether you use them or not, someone else already is. If you're tired of being the nice guy she respects but doesn't desire, if you're done watching women choose jerks while you finish last, if you want to finally understand what actually makes her crave you, then don't look away. Let's begin. Tactic 1. Scarcity. Become the prize she's chasing. She texts you. You see it immediately. And your first instinct is to respond right away because you don't want her to think you're not interested. So you reply within seconds, every single time. And slowly, without you even realizing it, you've taught her something. You're always available. You're always waiting. You have nothing more important going on than talking to her. And the moment she knows that, she stops valuing your attention. Here's what most men don't understand. People value what's scarce, not what's abundant. When you're always available, always responding, always making time for her, you become cheap, easy to get, forgettable. But when your time is limited, when she has to earn your attention, when she's not sure if you'll respond or not, suddenly you become valuable. This isn't a game. This is psychology. Scarcity increases perceived value. It's why limited edition products cost more, why exclusive clubs have waiting lists, why women chase men who seem just out of reach. Now, some of you are thinking, but if I don't respond right away, won't she think I'm not interested? No. She'll think you have a life. She'll think you have options. She'll think you're a man who doesn't drop everything for a woman he barely knows. And that's attractive. Here's the pattern you need to understand. When you're always available, she stops wondering about you. She stops thinking about you when you're not around. She stops missing you because you're always there. But when you're scarce, when she texts you and doesn't get an immediate response, her mind starts working. What's he doing? Is he with someone else? Why hasn't he responded yet? And now, you're living in her head rent-free. Let me be clear. I'm not telling you to ignore her for days. I'm telling you to have a life that's so full, so purposeful, that responding to her texts isn't your top priority. You're building a business. You're at the gym. You're with your boys. You're focused on your mission. And when you do respond, it's because you chose to, not because you've been sitting there waiting for her message. That shift changes everything. Because now, you're not the guy chasing her. You're the guy she's trying to lock down before someone else does. Here's how you implement this. Don't respond to every text immediately. Let some time pass. Not to play games, but because you're genuinely busy. When you're with her, be present. But when you're not, don't be constantly checking in, asking what she's doing, trying to maintain her attention. Let her wonder, let her chase. Let her realize that access to you isn't guaranteed. And watch how quickly her behavior changes. Suddenly, she's the one double texting. She's the one asking when she'll see you again. She's the one making sure you know she's interested. Because scarcity doesn't just increase your value, it triggers her fear of losing you. And that fear, that's what creates obsession. Tactic 2. Foot in the door. Start small, win big. You want her to go home with you, but if you ask that directly, she'll say no. Not because she doesn't want to, but because it's too big of a leap too fast. So you don't ask for that. You ask for something smaller. Want to grab a drink after this? She says yes. It's low commitment, easy. Then, once she's already said yes to one thing, you escalate. There's this cool rooftop bar nearby. Let's check it out. She's already committed to having a drink, so she says yes again. Then, at the bar, you suggest, "Let's get out of here. I know a spot with a better view." And because she's already said yes twice, her brain wants to stay consistent. So, she says yes again. And before she even realizes it, she's at your place. Not because you manipulated her, but because you understood how the human brain works. This is called the foot in the door technique, and it's one of the most powerful psychological tools in seduction. Here's why it works. Humans have a deep psychological need for consistency. Once we commit to something small, our brain wants to stay aligned with that decision. So when the next slightly bigger request comes, we're more likely to say yes to avoid cognitive dissonance. Think about it. If she agrees to meet you for coffee, she's already decided you're worth her time. So when you suggest walking to a nearby park after, she's more likely to agree because her brain has already labeled you as safe and interesting. But if you had asked her to go to the park with you from the start, she might have hesitated. Too big, too uncertain. The key is to build momentum. Small yes, another small yes, then a slightly bigger yes, until you're exactly where you wanted to be all along. Here's a real scenario. You match with her on a dating app. Instead of asking her out immediately, you start with a low-commitment ask. "What's your take on pineapple on pizza?" She responds. You've got her engaged. Then you escalate slightly. "Okay, I need to know more about this. Coffee sometime this week?" It's still low pressure. She says yes. At coffee, you don't ask to hang out again. You just say, "This was fun. Let's do something more interesting next time." Now she's thinking about the next time. And when you text her later, suggesting a specific plan, she's already mentally committed. Each yes builds on the last, and before she knows it, she's invested. She's chasing. She's the one making sure this happens. That's the power of starting small. Tactic 3. Mystery. Never let her fully figure you out. You're on a date. She asks about your past, and you tell her everything. Your ex, your childhood, your fears, your dreams, all of it. You think you're building intimacy, but what you're actually doing is killing mystery. And when mystery dies, so does attraction. Here's the truth. Women are not attracted to men they fully understand. They're attracted to men they're still figuring out. Because the human brain is wired for curiosity. We're drawn to puzzles, to questions without answers, to things we can't quite grasp. When you reveal everything about yourself too soon, you remove the intrigue. You become predictable, easy to read, boring. But when you hold back, when you give her just enough to keep her interested, but not enough to satisfy her curiosity, she becomes obsessed. Let me be clear. I'm not telling you to lie or be fake. I'm telling you to reveal yourself slowly, strategically, in layers. Think of it like a TV show. If they revealed the entire plot in episode 1, you'd never watch episode 2. But because they give you just enough to hook you, then leave you with questions, you keep coming back. That's what you need to do with her. She asks about your past? Give her the highlight, not the documentary. She asks what you do? Tell her, but don't explain every detail. Let her wonder. Let her ask more questions. Let her feel like she's discovering you piece by piece. Here's how this looks in practice. She says, "So what do you do for fun?" Most guys respond with their entire life story. "Oh, I love hiking, and I also play guitar, and I'm really into Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and on weekends I..." Stop. You're doing too much. Instead, you say, "I stay busy. I've got a few things I'm working on." That's it. Vague. Intriguing. Now she has to ask more if she wants to know. Like what? Maybe I'll show you sometime. See what you did there? You didn't give her the answer. You gave her a reason to see you again. This works because it triggers something called the Zeigarnik effect, the psychological phenomenon where people remember unfinished tasks better than completed ones. When you leave gaps in the conversation, her brain can't let it go. She'll keep thinking about it. She'll keep wondering. She'll keep coming back to fill in the blanks. And the more she thinks about you, the more attracted she becomes. Mystery isn't about being secretive. It's about being selectively open. You share, but you don't overshare. You let her in, but not all the way. You give her access, but you keep some doors locked. Because the moment she feels like she's figured you out completely, the chase is over. And when the chase is over, so is the attraction. Tactic 4. Push-pull. Keep her emotionally off balance. One night, you're all over her. Texting, calling, making plans, giving her attention. The next week, you pull back. You're busy. You're focused on other things. She barely hears from you. And she starts to panic. Did I do something wrong? Is he losing interest? That panic? That's what creates obsession. This is called the push-pull technique, and it's one of the most powerful tools in attraction because it keeps her in a constant state of uncertainty. Here's why it works. Humans are motivated by two things: pursuing pleasure and avoiding pain. When you push, give attention, she feels pleasure. When you pull, withdraw attention, she feels the threat of loss. And loss is more powerful than gain. People will do more to avoid losing something than to gain something new. So when you pull back, her brain doesn't think, "Oh well, he's busy." It thinks, "I need to win him back." And now she's chasing. But here's the key. You can't just pull away randomly. You can't just ignore her for no reason. That's not push-pull. That's just being flaky. Real push-pull is strategic. You give attention when she's earned it. You pull back when you have something more important to focus on. For example, you have a great date. You're laughing, connecting, enjoying each other. That's the push. But then, instead of texting her the next day like most guys do, you go silent for 2 days. You're at the gym. You're working. You're living your life. She notices. She wonders. And when you finally text, she's more excited to hear from you than she would have been if you'd texted immediately. Here's another scenario. You're texting back and forth. The conversation is flowing. Then suddenly, you stop responding mid-conversation. Not rudely, you just move on with your day. Hours later, you respond with something completely unrelated, like nothing happened. She's confused. Did he get busy? Did he forget about me? Was I boring? And now you're in her head. The push-pull keeps her emotionally invested because she's constantly trying to figure out where she stands with you. And that uncertainty? That's what keeps the attraction alive. Tactic 5. Pre-selection. Let her see other women want you. You're out with her. And another woman, attractive, confident, walks up and starts talking to you, flirting even. And you don't panic. You don't brush her off rudely. You're friendly, calm, like this is normal. And your date watches, and something shifts in her mind. Wait, other women want him too? And suddenly, you're more attractive. This is called pre-selection, and it's one of the most powerful psychological triggers in attraction. Here's why it works. Humans are social creatures. We look to others to determine value. If everyone wants something, it must be valuable. If no one wants it, it must not be worth having. This is why restaurants with long lines seem better than empty ones, why sold-out concerts feel more exclusive, why women are attracted to men who are already desired by other women. Because if other women find you attractive, you must be worth something. Now, I'm not telling you to make her jealous. That's childish. I'm telling you to live a life where other women naturally notice you. Where you're social, confident, and comfortable around women in general. When she sees that, it raises your value in her eyes. Because now she's not just choosing you, she's competing for you. And competition triggers desire. Here's how you use this. Don't hide the fact that you have female friends. Don't avoid talking to other women when you're with her. Be natural, be social. Let her see that you're comfortable, that you have options, that you're not desperate for her attention. And watch how quickly her behavior changes. Suddenly, she's more affectionate, more attentive, more eager to make sure you know she's interested. Because now she's not the only one in the equation. And that scarcity, that competition, that's what makes her want you more. Tactic 6. Make her feel like the only one. Now, after everything I just told you, here's the twist. Once you've used scarcity, mystery, and pre-selection to raise your value, you need to make her feel special. Because attraction gets her interested, but connection keeps her. When you're with her, give her your full attention, not your phone, not your distractions, her. Listen to what she says. Remember the details. Make her feel like in that moment, she's the most important person in your world. This creates a powerful contrast. Outside of your time together, you're scarce, mysterious, desired by others. But when you're with her, she feels like she's won your full focus. And that combination, that's intoxicating. Most men do one or the other. They're either always available and needy, or they're so distant they seem uninterested. But the man who can balance both, he's unstoppable. Here's how it works. When you're together, make eye contact. Put your phone away. Ask her questions. Show genuine interest in her answers. Make her feel heard, valued, seen. But when you're apart, you're back to your life, your mission, your purpose. She doesn't get constant updates. She doesn't get hourly check-ins. She gets you when you choose to give her your time. And that balance, scarcity outside, presence inside, creates a dynamic where she feels both valued and uncertain, both special and like she has to keep earning you. That's the sweet spot. That's where obsession lives. Tactic 7. Mirroring. Create instant connection. She leans in when she talks, so you lean in slightly too. She gestures with her hands. You start using similar gestures. She speaks softly. You lower your voice to match hers. And without either of you realizing it, a connection forms. She feels comfortable, like you get her, like you're on the same wavelength. This is called mirroring, and it's one of the most subtle yet powerful psychological techniques for building rapport. Here's why it works. Humans are wired to trust people who are similar to us. When someone mirrors our body language, speech patterns, or energy, our subconscious interprets it as, this person is like me. And we like people who are like us. But here's the key. It has to be subtle. If you're obviously copying everything she does, it's creepy. But if you're naturally syncing with her rhythm, it feels organic. Match her energy. If she's excited, you're engaged. If she's calm, you're relaxed. If she's playful, you're playful. This creates a subconscious bond that makes her feel like you understand her on a deeper level, like you're connected in a way she can't quite explain. And that feeling, that's what makes her want to be around you more. In conclusion, these 7 tactics aren't tricks, they're psychology. They're how attraction actually works, whether you like it or not. Scarcity, foot in the door, mystery, push-pull, pre-selection, making her feel special, mirroring. Master these and you'll never chase a woman again. She'll chase you. But here's the most important part. Use these ethically. Use them to build real connections, not to manipulate or hurt people. Because power without responsibility is destruction. The goal isn't to control her. It's to become the kind of man she can't resist, the kind of man she chooses, the kind of man she's terrified of losing. If this opened your eyes, if you finally understand why nice guys finish last, then don't let this knowledge go to waste. Subscribe to Stoic Eyes. Share this with a brother who needs it. And comment below, "I'm done chasing." Because the man who understands these principles is the man who wins. Until next time, stay sharp, stay strategic, and never beg for what you can command. This is Stoic Eyes.